No, it's great having a manga wish list that's kinda grounds you and also guides how you're gonna purchase manga that given year. You know what isn't great? Completely ignoring it and constantly going out of scope of said wish list. Hello, my sisters, my name is Daidarius, and today I'm gonna try to dive into the topic of making a wish list and then refuse to sticking to it to buy other shit. Normally each year I actually make a manga wishlist. I put a lot of time and effort into curating this wishlist because not only is it gonna inform how much manga I'm gonna buy each year, but I am also constantly aware of, can I actually fit this into my manga budget? Because not only do I use the wishlist to figure out what I'm gonna pursue that year, I also use it to ensure I don't spend too much money on a hobby. Of course, too much money depends on your income and your personal finances, but a wish list is there to keep you grounded, to ensure that you develop this discipline so you don't just overspend each and every time and you just go the spontaneous route. Yes, some people actually prefer to be spontaneous when they're collecting manga. Well, I personally advocate for at least try to plan some shit, like what series are you actually trying to collect, and more importantly, which series are you trying to catch up on or have eyes on in the horizon. So why am I making this video? Yes, well, thing is, I made the wish list last year. I even did a video on the candidates. And yet, during this year, some new announcements has dropped that actually got me thinking I might need to go beyond my wish list a lot more than I originally thought. For example, there are a few titles dropping this year that I had no idea would be dropping, that I have been actively waiting for an English release. One is Baki Part 2. Yes, it seems like Baki Part 1 is taking off a lot and has a lot of success. I mean, they are publishing 2 volumes each month. We are quickly approaching the end. But I was not sure if Baki Part 2 was a guarantee. So without that being announced, I was kind of just waiting, hoping that next year we will actually get a Part 2. Well, lo and behold, we are getting a Part 2 this year. So probably need to get that. I need to first collect Part 1, but still, I actually actively want that. Another series that I'm actually looking forward to is Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi. That is a series I've been following since chapter 1 dropped. And unfortunately, I became quite a big fan. I like the art style, I like the characters, I like the humor. The main author actually being a former assistant of Eiichiro Oda, who is the author of One Piece, didn't hurt at all. So I actually enjoy this manga and I was hoping that it would get popular enough for an English release. Well, it has been struggling with sales, but luckily Viz has announced that yes, we are actually gonna get an English release. And I mean, I gotta have to show my support, so they're gonna keep releasing it. Then we also have a different series that I actually thought we were never ever gonna get in English. Well, once again, it's this coming for the rescue. It is the spin-off or sequel series for Alice in Borderland, one of the biggest highlights and surprises for me last year. Alice in Borderland is just fantastic, and us actually getting the sequel / spin-off series also in English, I mean, I gotta go in. Which leaves us with the final one, and that is something I did not know exist. That is a follow-up novel for Araki's How to Draw Manga in Theory and Practice, because he apparently made a sequel for that. I didn't know there was a need to it, but that is How to Create Villains. And considering how much I enjoyed the insights that the original book actually gave me on how his creative process is when creating manga and just story and art in general, I mean, of course I'm gonna get it, because JoJo villains are some of my favorite villains of all time. So what do? Because I have made the wish list for a purpose. Keep me grounded, make sure I don't overspend, and ensure that I actually actively trying to collect what I set out to do. So do I just ignore that and go out of bounds? Or do I push it to next year? Well, the thing is, that depends on how do you actually view a wish list if you have one. Because not only do I personally think that it at least sets a goal for the year and it also ensures that you have financial discipline, but by having this discipline, trying to be more strict on your budget, actually trying to follow your budget, well, this planning allows for flexibility. So if, let's say that there is a big surprise drop of the year, big announcement, that's something you have been waiting for years, I don't know, it could be Kingdom, who knows, then you have actually been able to set aside some money because you were strictly on budget, maybe you were even under budget because of your planning, and now you have automatically saved up and now you can do a big splash. I'm gonna buy that new thing. That is one thing that the wish lists do. It is making sure that we are staying disciplined. Not only with the active collecting of mangas, but also how we're gonna spend our money. At least I hope so. Another good thing of the wish list, at least personally, is that it gives a sense of accomplishment because you are actively crossing out all the things you are getting throughout the year. You can see your progress because often if you don't have a wish list and you're just buying manga each month with whatever you think is worth collecting, then you can quickly lose the overview of what you're actively collecting unless you're actually keeping a journal on it. So looking back throughout the year and just seeing how much you have actually managed to collect is such a fulfilling experience for me personally. But you also have to be careful when you go outside of the wish list. It is a slippery slope depending on how you look at it, because unplanned, well, that is just spontaneous. That is not really well thought out. You're just doing shit. Whereas unpredictable, well, that's just the market. We are not in control of when or what the market actually announces to us, and often we'll have to adapt and react to it. That's how I often see it. And it often puts me in a dilemma. But I think it is a healthy dilemma, because the dilemma is that if there's something announced that you have been looking forward to for a long time, do you just ignore your wish list for a while and go out of budget, over budget, and acquire it because you want to announce or at least tell the publishers that you are actively supporting this. This was a very smart choice by them and you want them to continue printing that shit so it isn't just quickly out of print and maybe out of stock? Or do you save your money and that entry for next year, risking that it doesn't sell that well and the license is dropped? I mean, I often balance those two things. I don't always just go out of my way to go out of the wish list or out of budget just to acquire something. I do sometimes if I fear that it might lose the license, but other times I do actually wait and push it to next year. I did so with Baki, for example, which now means that I am insanely behind. I mean, I am 8 or 9 volumes behind the official release. For me. But I also think it's really important to not become too strict, too locked in with your wish list, because then the wish list is kind of like a cage. It's a prison. Once you have committed to this, you are not allowed to go outside of it because, again, you're going to spend too much money. I mean, how are you going to justify that for yourself or your family? Well, that isn't how you should view a wish list, in my opinion. I mean, priorities change, goals change throughout the year, so why shouldn't a wish list adapt to reality when reality changes? And especially when your priority changes. Hell, who knows, maybe your financial situation changes. You may have gotten a raise, a new job with a bigger pay, or you have cut off some expenses and now you have more money left that you actively want to spend on manga and think it is responsible. I mean, life is unpredictable and you shouldn't lock yourself too much in on a wish list if you think it constricts your enjoyment of the medium. And we also have to keep in mind that a wish list, more often than not, is made with incomplete information, because the publishers are not sleeping the whole year until the end of the year before they announce what licenses they have acquired and which editions they're gonna deliver to you. No, they do that shit all year round. And then it is up to you. Do you want to adapt to the new information, or do you want to turn a blind eye and postpone it for a planning next year? Personally, I try to postpone it, but sometimes I just have to adapt. And to me, the wishlist did not fail just because I go beyond the scope. I've done that since year one of making these wishlists. I often buy other things than what's on my wishlist. My only goal is to complete the wishlist, but whatever I get besides that is bonus, as long as I don't spend too much money on everything else. So the wishlist didn't fail me, it just helped me understand what I value. And sometimes that value comes a little late. But I am curious of what you think. How do you actually actively look at the wishlist if you're actually using one? Do you think it is okay to go outside of it, or do you think you risk actually end up spending too much money, becoming too spontaneous, and then losing the overview of what money are you actually spending on manga? Or you are also one of them that just turns a blind eye because you know the amount is way higher than it actually actively should be. I mean, that happens sometimes, but at least personally, having a wish list, having a monthly budget, and can see that more often than not I stay within that budget gives me a peace of mind, so I don't have to actively look at the spending. But what do you think, and is there any licenses that dropped this year that you weren't aware of and now are considering might actually get them this year? Whatever you think, comment on me your thoughts, and so I'll still see you next video. Just remember to stay awesome. See ya.